Good Saturday morning. This is the end of St. Mark's third chapter, okay? This is kind of, well, at least as far as I know. Anyway, it's got a personal note for me. It's very brief, okay? But it's his calling, okay? So Jesus came into his disciple. Jesus came with his disciples into the house. Again, the crowd gathered, making it impossible for them even to eat. When his relatives heard of this, they set out to seize him. For they said, he's out of his mind. That's the end of the gospel here. His relatives heard of this. They set out to seize him. They were trying to help him. For they said, he, namely Jesus, is out of his mind. When I told my aunt that I wanted to be a priest, I was in high school then, or just before high school. Not that I felt I wanted to be, I felt called to it. My Aunt Anita told my mother, and my mother's answer was, he was out of his mind. He's nuts. That was what my mother said, he's nuts. And a certain kind of thing, it is crazy. Because what Christ calls us to is very often not what we expect. And I have to say, for whatever it's worth, it was a string of rejection attractions at the same time. I think if I got it, I didn't want to be a priest. I felt called. I told you that a million times. All I wanted to do was have an average life, get married, and have family. That's all I wanted. I was too busy chasing girls to want to do anything else. I never could catch them. And even when I got that close, they used to dump me. I jokingly say after one date, that was it. Anyway, well, I'm laughing at myself. But the truth is, I put off going to the seminary as long as I could, okay? Being honest with you, right? The best date I ever had was the week before I left for the seminary. I went out with my friend Al's sister Barbara. She was a sophomore in high school and I was a senior. We went to a boxing match in the movies. Did I tell you that already? I probably did. Ingmar Johansson fighting Floyd Patterson for the heavyweight championship. The fight lasted one round. Ingmar knocked out Patterson in one round. But it was beautiful. I mean, not the fight wasn't, that's it. But I got to have a date with Barb, and we crossed the green in New Haven in the rain. I never forgot that. Arguably one of the most romantic moments of my life, I have to say, up to that point, okay? It was just beautiful. That's what I wanted. I wanted Barb. I didn't want the priest. But I felt called 10 years later with Eva. As much as I loved her and she loved me, I felt called. I did nothing I could. I wanted it to go away, the calling to go away, but it didn't. In some ways, you're out of your mind. The practical thing would be to love these women, marry them, have a family. Many before me did, after me did. They did those kinds of things. Guys left the outfit just to get married and have a family. Something I wanted, but couldn't do. That's just the truth. I don't know who's listening to or watching this thing, but it's really true. And yet, I've had such a life that is beyond anything I could have dreamt of. I have to say, the best thing that happened to me in my life was to be called to the Passionist Order. They saw in me what I couldn't see in myself, and they perfected what was in me. They led me to a rich life, richer than I would have ever had if I had never left home and never left for the outfit. My professional life, my career, my personal life. It's been an adventure of grace and wonder beyond my imagination. That I'm a college professor, you have to know what a joke that is among my old friends because I was the dumbest guy in the bunch. And they don't know what to do with it because the dumb I ain't no more. I can thank the order for that. And SLU, St. Louis University. It took a chance on me, both in bringing me into the grad program, but also bringing me back as chairman. Who would have guessed it? Who would have ever guessed it? I'm an enigma. It's funny, we went to our 60th anniversary of high school, graduation. And I've had one of the best careers of anybody that's been in our graduating class. And I had to be one of the dumbest to graduate. And the reason is, I didn't know if I graduated till I graduated. I was flunking the same damn course, math course, I think second or third time. I think the brother who was teaching I think he just passed me to get me out of here. Okay. You have to know that. And here I'm in with these guys that were so much smarter than I am. And yet, I can't say, I heard and hear one person who had a career as comparable to mine as a professional life. And that's because of the order. And the divine providence that led me into the order, led me to do things that I didn't want to do, and I did them. You know, the austerity of the passionist life gave me the discipline that released for me my intelligence. I didn't know I was smart. I thought I was stupid. But I wasn't. I was smart. I was smart. I was a good philosopher and a good theologian. Who would have guessed it? The order saw it and cultivated it. And then when an opportunity here at SLU to come back and live on my own, which I never dreamt I'd ever do, and it's what I've been doing for the last 34 years, with the blessings of the order. Who would have guessed it? See, that's the adventure of the apostles. Who would have ever guessed? I imagine they not only said this about that he's out of his mind talking about Christ, I bet they were saying about the apostles, these guys are nuts. What, are you kidding me? I imagine what their families were saying to him. What are you, nuts? This guy's a nitwit. What are you doing? This guy's going to get you killed. He's going to, can you imagine what they were saying? What is the matter with you? See, I can only imagine. I would think this line in St. Mark's Gospel was as much depicting the apostles and the early Christians. These guys got to be nuts. In Rome, they're going to get themselves thrown into the Colosseum, eaten by the lions. You see? The calling, and in many ways, from a purely human perspective, is madness. But from a divine, it's a divine madness. And for some of us, it has opened a way of life for us that is beyond anything we could have ever hoped for or predicted, let alone hope for. You know, what a life we have been led to live. Wow. It's a true story. It's actually funny at times at home because my good friends at home don't know how this happened. How could I have gone this far in the academic world when I was lucky I graduated from high school. You got to know that. It's the order, Providence, SLU, the university. They saw something and they gave me a chance. And I flourished. Never thought I was a leader until in Bellarmine College. They needed a chair, you know, and I said, no, nobody wanted it. Okay, oh, hell, I'll do it. I did it for 9 years. I was good at what I did. And on the basis of that, I got the job at SLU to be the chair of the department. I had it for 28 years. We're one of the best departments in the country. I hired everybody in our department and cultivated them, not just hired them, but cultivated them. I didn't know it, that I was a natural leader, not a bully, a leader. And I led by person. I cultivated each individual to their best interests. Who'd have guessed it? Me, the follower? I wasn't a follower. I didn't know until I had a chance to lead. And then I took the job as leading because I had to do it. And it turned out to be something I was expert at. I was outstandingly good at it. I know Father Biondi, when he was president, wanted me to be dean. Yeah, wanted me to be the dean of the college. And they even said provost, number 2 guy. I didn't want it. Was I mistaken on that? I don't think so. I don't know. We'll never know. But I am a leader. I didn't know it. I didn't perfect it. I didn't propose it. I just did it. Why? I got called to do it. See? Out of necessity. It's an interesting, isn't it? It's life. It's a great mystery. It's a great adventure. It's an adventure in grace. Did these guys know what they were getting into? No, and I bet their families all said, these guys are nuts. He's nuts. Christ is nuts. Jesus is nuts. You guys are nuts. You're going to get yourself whacked. And they did. And they changed the world.